Helio X10. In 2015, if you heard MediaTek in a spec sheet, you probably stopped reading. Budget phones, cheap internals, nothing you'd brag about. The Helio X10 was their attempt to change that. And honestly, it had no business working as well as it did. 8 Cortex-A53 cores on a 28nm process, with Core Pilot technology that let all 8 cores run simultaneously with intelligent task scheduling. In 2015, most mid-range chips still used cluster switching, only activating 4 cores at a time. The X10 brought full 8-core concurrency to a price point where nobody expected it. Here's what most people miss about this chip. It supported 120Hz display output at the hardware level, years before any phone maker would use it. The Razer phone wouldn't ship a 120Hz screen until 2017. Widespread adoption wouldn't come until 2020, but the silicon was ready in 2015. And while Qualcomm's Snapdragon 810 was melting and throttling, the X10 stayed cool. The $125 Xiaomi Redmi Note 2 outscored phones costing 5 times more in multi-core benchmarks. MediaTek wasn't a real flagship, but it had just embarrassed one. Helio X20. MediaTek's next move was bolder. The world's first deca-core processor. 10 cores, 3 clusters, 2 big Cortex-A72 cores for heavy tasks, 4 medium A53 cores for everyday use, 4 small A53 cores for background work, 3 gears, like a transmission. Benchmarks looked incredible, but here's the catch. The 20nm planar process leaked power and generated heat. Under sustained load, the A72 cores shut down automatically. 10 cores became 8. MediaTek had to publicly deny overheating on social media. The Chinese Redmi Note 4 shipped with the X20, but for the global version, Xiaomi swapped it out for Qualcomm's Snapdragon 625, choosing reliability over raw performance. The Meizu MX6 used it too, but neither device was a true flagship. MediaTek was chasing core counts. The industry was chasing efficiency. Helio X25. Same architecture, same process, higher clocks. The A72 cores pushed to 2.5 GHz. The GPU ran faster. A turbo variant, not a redesign. The Meizu Pro 6 used it as its flagship chip. The Xiaomi Redmi Pro followed. The X25 proved MediaTek could push performance. The problem wasn't the ceiling, it was the heat getting there. Helio X30. 2017. 10 cores again. TSMC's 10nm process. Cortex-A73 big cores, competing directly with the Snapdragon 835. 3 problems hit at once. 10nm yields were low, making it too expensive for MediaTek's cost-conscious partners. The modem couldn't work on US or European networks. The PowerVR GPU couldn't match Qualcomm's Adreno ecosystem. One phone company used it, Meizu, the Pro 7 Plus. It flopped. Watch for this. What happened next is the most important part of MediaTek's entire story. 2 years, no flagship chip, nothing. Qualcomm released the 845, then the 855, unchallenged. Everyone assumed MediaTek had given up permanently. They hadn't. Behind closed doors, MediaTek was tearing everything apart and rebuilding from scratch. New brand, new modem strategy, new foundry relationship with TSMC. They looked at what killed the Helio X series: bad modems, wrong GPU partners, expensive manufacturing, and they fixed every single one. And they had one bet: put 5G inside the chip before Qualcomm did. Dimensity 1000, late 2019, new name, Dimensity, among the first integrated 5G flagship tier processors, and the one that changed the conversation. To understand why this mattered, you need to know what Qualcomm was doing. The Snapdragon 865 required a separate X55 modem bolted onto the board. 2 chips instead of 1. More board space, more power draw, more heat. MediaTek put the modem directly on the chip. 1 die, 1 package. Significantly less power draw in 5G mode. TSMC 7nm, 4 A77 cores. MediaTek's first dedicated AI engine, the APU 3.0. And this part mattered more than people realized at the time. It supported both standalone and non-standalone 5G with carrier aggregation, hitting peak download speeds of 4.7 gigabits per second. It wasn't just an integrated 5G solution. It was a fast one. The comeback had started, but nobody fully trusted it yet. Dimensity 1000 Plus, not a new chip, a refinement. But it added one thing that mattered: 144Hz display support with intelligent display sync, which adjusted refresh rate on the fly to save battery. The Redmi K30 Ultra and Realme X7 Pro used it. But the real milestone was LG. They chose a variant called the 1000C for the Velvet on T-Mobile. First MediaTek chip inside a flagship on a major US carrier. A small step on paper, Massive for credibility. Dimensity 1100 2021 TSMC 6 nanometer. This wasn't designed to be the star. It was designed to be everywhere. 4 A78 cores, solid efficiency, and one feature nobody in the West talked about, 5G that actually worked in elevators and on high-speed trains. Across Asia, where millions of commuters dealt with dropped 5G connections every single day, that wasn't a spec sheet bullet point. That was the reason you bought the phone. Dimensity 1200. Same generation, different ambition. One A78 core pushed to 3.0 gigahertz. 200 megapixel camera support. 168 Hz display, higher than most gaming monitors at the time. But specs didn't change perception. OnePlus did. And this is important. OnePlus had built its entire reputation on Snapdragon. Their fans were Qualcomm loyalists. Choosing MediaTek for the Nord 2 wasn't just a business decision, it was a risk. If the chip underperformed, OnePlus would hear about it from every tech forum on the internet. It didn't underperform. Xiaomi put it in the 11T. Realme chose it for the GT Neo. The dominoes were falling. And while Qualcomm's Snapdragon 888 ran hot on Samsung's 5 nanometer, the Dimensity 1200 ran cool and steady. MediaTek was no longer budget. It was the smart choice for stability.